हेलो ऑल, वेलकम टू माय चैनल। स्वागत है आप सबका मेरे इस चैनल पर। Now the next barrier to PDM implementation is the project team. One potential problem with the project team is that it is set up or formed such that the PDM doesn't function as a team but as a set of individuals. In fact, it should be set up with such an objective that PDM should function as a team, but it is done in the reverse way. Other problem can be that the team leader isn't a good leader and that the team doesn't have clear objectives. The result of these problems will be that the team doesn't function effectively, and as a consequence, the project team doesn't develop a solution, or even if the solution is developed, it's not the right solution. Then this problem needs to be avoided. So, how to avoid this problem? For avoiding such problems, a lot of effort has to be put in while setting the team and the project. So it's important to select a suitable team leader and to make sure that the people in the team know how to work together and they know what they are working towards. It may be necessary to give some training in team working before the project is started. Then selecting a system have to be considered while introducing PDM, because once the project has started, it may be found that some of the team members think that they already know everything, so they select a system very quickly. They want to select a software, they will select quickly. They don't want to involve users in the project. In fact, users will be working on the project, but they don't want to involve the users. They have already taken their final decision that this is the vendor I'm going to select, because they don't have to use the system themselves. So whatever system they want, they will select. In fact, selecting a system, or in this case a software, is just one of the many activities that have to be considered while introducing the PDM system. So PDM is not just a selection of system. The team members need to that rare understand that their role is to introduce PDM, not just to select a software or a system. It's unlikely that they will be knowing everything. They shall probably need to learn a lot about the way the organization manages the product data and the way it could manage the product data in the future. They also need to understand about PDM systems before they select any PDM system. The team should be able to get some of this information from various sources, maybe going to the company where PDM system is implemented, or they can find it from the internet. But they have to learn how a PDM system operates before implementing a PDM system. Now, one of the solution to this is involve the users in the project team. When the users are involved in the project team, they know how the organization works today, and they know the type of functionality they need from the PDM. Also, if they participate in the project, they may in future work with the ultimate solution provided by the PDM system. So often we see that the team which selects the PDM project or any project is different and the users are different. So it should not happen. It's never a good idea to have a lot of team members who are only involved in project selection and not in the implementation of the chosen selection. Again, it's the question of involvement. It's easy to choose a solution if you don't have to use it. मुझे तो यूज करना नहीं है, कुछ भी सिलेक्ट करके दे दो, मेरा काम जल्दी खत्म हो जाएगा. People who are going to use the selected system may thoroughly evaluate the system, and they have practical experience because they are actually doing it on a paper, but now they have to do it on the software by using the software. So they have practical exposure to the system and they can do it in a better way. Now there are often problem among the PDM support team also. Once the PDM system has been implemented, The support team may find itself being attacked by the users because the system doesn't function as promised. Now, why this happens? It's because the project team didn't do the job properly. The project team should actually be blamed for this, but who is blamed? The support team. Understand why? If the project team doesn't use the selected system to find the issues, they don't understand the system, they don't work on the system, then the project team is gone afterwards. Who is left with the user? The support team. And who and to whom the users will blame? The support team, because they are in front of them, they are supporting them. The project team who have used the project team who have brought this software or who have purchased this software are no more in the picture. So the support team will be blamed. In a scenario, the support team may feel demotivated because the project team have overspent its budget, and because of this, there is less money available for the support team to perform its work. There can also be a possibility that the support team was not given proper training because there was no budget available for providing training to the support team. It is also possible that the support team is available only in few numbers, whereas it should have been available with more number of people. To avoid this problem, some members of the support team should be there in the project team. And that one of the tasks of the project team is to define the task, responsibility, resources, and budget of the support team. So if the project team itself decides the support and the role of the support team, then that will not be a barrier to the PDM implementation. Another problem that may arise is with the consultant. Sometimes consultants are appointed for selecting the project, but then they really don't know about the subject. They may receive payment from the vendor also while selecting the vendor. Once they are hired, they may be busy in doing their task, and at the end moment, they may select a vendor. The consultant may even blame the person who has hired them if any difficulty is arising in the PDM project team, so that they can hide their own inadvocacy or their own lack of knowledge. So this can be avoided by few points, which are very common points, like define the role of consultant, define the pay he will get for the project, get proposals from several consultants and then decide who should be appointed as consultant. Make sure that the consultant knows the subject. Take out references of previous similar consultancy work done by the consultant. So if proper care is taken while the project team is formed, then it could not be a barrier to PDM implementation. But in most of the cases, this project team becomes barrier to the PDM implementation because the reasons discussed now. The next point as a barrier to PDM implementation is the process. Now, if all goes well, if the PDM system is installed, it will support the flow and use of information throughout the product life cycle, and it will manage the workflow and make sure that the people have information when they need it. So this is the expectation after the implementation of PDM. But unfortunately, things don't always turn out as they are thought. There are always challenges and problems that may come. Many implementations problems are due to poor understanding and definition of the processes. People don't have the understanding of what exactly has to be done and how it is to be done. So definition means what and how is expected and how it is to be done. So that understanding is not there in the people because they may have not involved themselves or others may have not involved them when the PDM implementation was explained. Problems may arise because the system don't address the part of the overall process that the company is interested in. So it leaves some of the part, only major highlights are given to the people, and then problems can arise. Problems can also arise at the level of individual activity. That is, if the way the system work doesn't correspond to the way the company wants to carry out the activity. If there is a difference in the way in which system is working and the company wants the system to work, then problems may occur in the PDM implementation. Here I am talking about PDM implementation, and as I told you in previous lecture also, barriers can be before the PDM system is implemented, or even the PDM system implementation has started, but then it is not into effort. It has not come into effort properly. So it's important that the process should be clearly understand. It should be clearly defined. Each one of us, each one of them using it should clearly understand it, and it should be clearly defined also. If people don't want the system to be understood, if people themselves are not interested in the system to understand, then this understanding will not be clear. People don't know what rights they have, what is their responsibility, what comes in their scope of their responsibility. All those things if are not clear to the people, then they will not try to understand the system, and then even if it is explained, they may just ignore it, and that's why problems may arise. Then it is difficult to find anybody who understands the overall process. Generally, you know that in any case, in any organization or in any situation, consider any situation where people are involved, there are only few people who understand the process, and that too not 100%. Okay, there are few people who understand it 70-80%, and there are many people who understand it 10-20% only. So as many people don't understand the process, what exactly is needed? A training is needed, because it's not like people should understand by themselves. They do trial and error method, and then they make some mistakes, and from learn from mistake, and then from that PDM should be implemented. It's not like that. Training should be given to the people so that they understand it properly, and all sorts of issues related to a process can be resolved if proper training is given. So if this is not there, then the PDM project will slow down, and as the project will slow down, its cost will increase. Okay, because already PDM implementation has started, and it is not being implemented at that pace at which it should be. So the cost will also increase. Now, since cost will increase, the sponsor of PDM, the management who has approved the PDM, they will not be happy. They will not be happy because PDM is not implemented properly. They have invested so much of money, and they will blame the PDM team member. They will carry out discussions with them. They will try to get answers from them. Some of the people will be fired also, but then the PDM team will be at fault from the management's point of view. Some team members will focus on managing product data, as they can't see how to manage the process. So they will try to manage the product data only. Another problem is that people who are supposed to look at the process can't agree among themselves as to what the process should be. They may be from different groups or different department, and they may have different views of the process. They can't get adjusted to the process quickly. Uh, as long as they continue to disagree, people from different department continue to disagree, and they fail to define the process, the PDM project will make slower progress. So this point is again about process. So all this is related to process. These are the barriers because the process is not proper. So in general we use the word system बराबर नहीं है. System बराबर नहीं है मतलब क्या बराबर नहीं है? So these are the points which I am telling. जो बोलते हैं हम system बराबर नहीं है. So these issues will be created if the process is not proper. Now, when PDM process is finally understood, now after doing so much of effort, taking so much of effort, finally the process is understood. But people will come to know that, or they may feel that okay, it is not this, it is not properly organized, it is a disorganized process. It is taking longer time than they used to do it in as compared to earlier case. You can compare this with your personal experience. If you are using a particular software, and then the software interface changes, then you generally take time to identify the tools. The location of the tools changes, and the way in which the software process is changed. Okay, then people will start feeling okay, the software is not good. But then by the time, as the time progresses, they get used to the software, and then they feel that okay, no, it is better than the earlier one. Here also what happens is PDM process is understood and people think that it is not disorganized, it is not organized, it is disorganized. So because of this, what will happen, it will cause a development cycle to be long. Okay, again it will create issue, and again the development cost will increase. More time will be lost in all this process, and management may not want to make the changes required to bring about the necessary improvements. The process may be so inflexible and so deeply anchored by historical and departmental barriers, in this case, that it will become difficult to change. Now, all these problems that will come during the implementation of PDM create delay in the work, and it will unnecessarily increase the problem for the PDM team only. Now, major problem for the team will be that they will fail to meet their target. Okay, if such thing keeps on happening, work will not move forward and people will get stuck to the work because system is not working. The promises made by PDM team will not be kept because targets will not be met. People will lose their confidence in the team. So it started with the people, and then again the people will start losing the confidence in the team, and finally it will give rise to the issues, and cost will also rise. And as this will happen, the targets will not be met. People will claim that introduction of the PDM, it has done opposite. Instead of reducing the development cycle, it has increased the development cycle, increased the development cost, and creating quality issues. So people will think that the system is not proper, and it is doing just the opposite for which it has been hired. The PDM team may decide that it is best not to get involved with process improvement. In order to solve these issues, they may come up with the solution rather than facing this problem. It's best not to get involved with the process improvement. So process improvement will not happen. So in all, if the process is not properly defined and explained to the people, they are not involved in the process definition and learning or training, then these barriers will may cause this barrier may come while the PDM is implemented. The next point here is the organizational structure. Now we'll see how organizational structure will create barrier to implementation of PDM. First point here is the fundamental source of problem in the organization category. In this category, it will be the difficulty of working in a departmental organization. So we had seen this while discussing PLM also. The department wise organizations are there, then this department wise organization may not be interested to work as a team, a company as a whole. They are interested to work in the team as a department, but team not as an institute, not as an organization. So problems that may arise during this are lack of agreement. There can be lack of agreement between the people, cooperation between the department will, because it is department wise. People are thinking department wise. So if the organizational structure is department wise, then there will be problems of cooperation between the department. There can be difficulty in getting the cross functional data, or cross functional activities will not happen, or it may happen but it will take delay. Departmental barrier, it will prevent the flow of information. Then also it may happen that different departments are using different definitions, and PDM is using some different definition. So this we had seen these definitions earlier also. So if these definitions are not standardized, then the two departments in an organization, or three or four departments in an organization, will create barrier to the PDM implementation. The problem can also arise outside the company. Like let us say, for example, customers and suppliers. In the departmental organization, each department is completely responsible for its activity. But outside, it is the customer and the supplier who may have issues with them. There can further be issues like each department has its own leader. So it has its leader, or you can say the general manager of the department or the head of the department. They will have their own budget. They will have their own practice, and they will have their own way of working. They will use their own technique. Also, their computer system will be different. their way of processing the information will be different, and so on. So if you talk about one department, it is totally different than the other department. Now, when the company tries to make the use of PDM in departmental organization, now I'm talking about if the organization is organizational structure is departmental, and the company tries to implement the PDM, then these type of problems may occur because it does not belong to any one of the functional department. So what will happen as a result? It's unclear who is responsible for it. It's not obvious how it will be financed. It's not obvious which practices should be followed in addressing it and which definitions should be used. Okay, because it's the two departments who have their own in their own interest they will be working, and as we had already discussed this in PLM also, there will be problem cost justifying the PDM system, like which department should pay the cost of the system. Okay, should it be the manufacturing department, or should be the maintenance department, or it should be the marketing department? Now, if it is to be equally shared, if it is to be shared by department, then how much percent should be shared by each department? Because every department has its own own budget, and they have to pay. They have to look at other activities also. So whatever money they have, from that only they will have to pay. Now, if one department is investing more money because they want PDM, then how their running cost will be shared? Will it be shared by other department? So issues like this will come between the departments if the organizational structure is departmental wise. Again, this is another issue that each department will claim ownership of the product data. Every department will say that this data belongs to our department, this data belongs to our department. So we are sharing the data. So we should have the system issues like this. But sometimes a product data is used by different departments, and they also define it differently. And each department that claims that it is their own data may be their actually their data, or maybe the data of may not be their department's data. It may be some other department data also. So what the management is trying to do? Management is trying to implement PDM in the organizational structure. So attempt to do this. This is cross-functional approach. Uh, is likely to meet the strong resistance from anyone who feel they will lose some power. Now see, if there are two departments and there are two heads of the department or two general managers of the department, what may happen that if PDM is implemented, they may think that okay, if PDM is implemented, then what will happen? I may not have the power. The power will go to some different department. Okay, so those who are chair hungry people, they may feel that they may lose the power and they will have to do more work. If they have power, they will not do work. If you don't have power, they will have to do more work. So this again issue can come in the implementation of PDM when our organizational structure is departmental wise. Then next point can be departments may not be able to agree on the purpose of PDM system. One department may see it as a list of material, other may see it as a bill of material. Different departments earlier had different purpose for of maintaining data, but now the PDM system that the data maintenance purpose is also different. So these two departments may not agree on how the department data is to be maintained. Even if now people can agree in principle about the requirement. Now let us say that okay, the above issues are resolved. The people have agreed about the requirements, and they may not be able to agree about the system to be purchased. If the system has a good part list, it may seem idle for one department. Okay, another department will think that why these things are purchased, what is the need of these things. They may say that okay, this is not having this module, it is not having this module, or it is not compatible with their CAD drawing. Suppose the CAD department is there, they will say that this is good for storing data, but it is not good for storing images, or the software will not work. So different departments have issues about when it comes to the purchase of the this PDM software. So this can again be the issues, and people will not agree about this, and this may delay the purchase of the things and finally the implementation of PDM. We'll move on to the next part, that is funding part. Now we'll see all these issues from funding, that is money point of view. Here we had seen that people may not be able to agree about the system to be purchased. So it is point of view is money here. Okay. If money is there, then people will purchase whatever they want. Both departments will not have any quarreling between them. They will say that अरे बहुत पैसा है, तुमको जो लेना है तुम लो, हमको जो लेना है हम लेंगे. But it's not the case. So this point which we have seen in organizational structure may also come in funding. So see funding. The funding category, this category of funding, which is a barrier to PDM implementation, includes issues related to funding and cost justification. It talks about money. Insufficient investment is a common problem. Okay, we have always seen everywhere that if we need 10 rupees, we always have 8 rupees, or we always get 7 rupees, something like that. And this will create injustice. This will create injustice when the system is to be implemented. The measures and incentives put in place to support the implementation and use of PDM may be inappropriate, or they may be unattainable. People will not be able to attain it. Then during implementation of PDM, all sorts of problem arise with funding, with money. Okay, if the earlier problems or the problems which we are going to see after this, if even if all the problems are solved, the major problems comes with funding. So all sorts of issues comes with the funding, and underlying statement is that there is not enough money to fund for the project right now. Usually enough money is found for system purchase, but not for all activities. Now sometimes what will happen, the the organization will invest money in all sorts of purchases. They will purchase everything whatever is required, but then they don't find money for activities like training, then installation, then a development of working procedures, then paying the project team. This is also the one of the activity. The project team also has to be paid the salary for that. So that also has to be done. And for this, there is often no money. So there can be two issues which we have seen. First thing is everything is tried to be fit in the small amount of money. And second is uh, uh, money is paid for purchasing of the things, but its implementation and use is not properly. For that, money is not there. It's like money is not there. Now, even if the project team thinks that it's got enough money for its own activities, but it will find that the related activities haven't been funded properly. So they will say that okay, activities are which are related to it are properly funded, but then the related activities, like maybe the system is purchased but the printer is not purchased, or if the printer is purchased, only one printer is purchased for 10 computers. So related activities, issues with related activities are always there. Maybe the flow of information, like if you need some internet connection for that, it is not there, the systems are there. So issues like that which can be different, that can also come in people's mind, that funding is done but the funding is not done properly, or funding is done for basic activities, not for supporting or related activities. It means that the supporting activities and the main activities, in both the cases the funding should be sufficient, otherwise both may create issue. One more problem that can come with the project fund is that the project fund may come at the wrong time, and it has come at a time when it cannot be used. Now what happens is purchase is not done throughout the year. Now it's the end of financial year, and some of 10-15 lakhs are still not utilized. Then there is enough money, and that then this money is to be utilized somewhere, otherwise the management will take it. They will take it and they will say next time you always over budget, so you give less budget. So the people have to spend all those money, and then they have to do it hurriedly, and then at the end they have to purchase anything the system which is not good, or they may not be able to purchase the required things. Now this can be called as a sudden windfall. Okay, sudden windfall which has come, and it may be of no use because activities and resources will have been arranged well in advance. Okay, and there will be no use, no one available to the work for new fund. So already at the end of the year, some activities are scheduled, and then there has to be people who will be doing this thing. So people are not there, fund is there, but then it cannot be properly utilized. So that's what it is saying. Fund has come, but it has come at a wrong time. Sometimes a funding problem arise because of another reason. It can be because the department that are potential users of the PDM, they can't decide who will get the benefit of its use, who will get the benefits of its use, and as a result they can't agree the proportion in which they should fund it. They don't know how much fund should be allocated to which. Each department funds it as little as possible, so every department will think that how much little I can spend I will spend, because if they invest less or they invest more they are going to get the benefit. Okay, so they will invest as less as possible and the fund can be transferred to some other places. Sometimes it may happen that the project teams avoid the problem with the funding. Now if the system is in use, then also financial problem can arise. It can arise if the system is selected, installed and brought into everyday use, then also problem can arise. Which type of problems can arise? If the benefit of system are not apparent immediately, जल्दी अभी अभी के अभी पता नहीं चलेगा, so some users will withdraw their support. The users maybe you can say it is financed by some of the, or supported by some of the company, or sponsored by some of the you can say some company or someone, then they may think that okay they are not getting the benefit for which they have invested in PDM implementation, and they may withdraw the support. Now if the support is withdrawn, again the company who is involved who is involved in purchase implementation of PDM will face a financial issue. There is another problem which may come with this funding is that now if PDM is implemented and it's used every day, it may not be considered as a new technology or or an exciting technology after a few days. People may lose interest in that, and they will start looking at some new technology. They may feel that okay this is a good technology, but then they are not satisfied with it, there is nothing good in it, and they will look at new technology, and instead of spending money on improving the PDM, they shall switch to spend money on some new technology, and that will be again a problem, because again there is no fund for that. Then cost of PDM are very clear, but the benefits are not. Whatever things are required for purchasing a PDM or implementing a PDM system, it is known before. Okay, what are systems are needed, what are support staffs are needed, what are technology changes have to be done. All those is known to the PDM team prior. But what are the benefits that cannot be clear? Benefits cannot be seen in 1 or 2 years, and benefits cannot be listed like this will be the benefit, because it depends on different company and the benefits may be different. Okay, so it may not be directly because PDM implementation will not give us any sort of money. It's not like we are implementing PDM and we are getting money. It is indirectly helping in improving the cost of the product, improving the sale of the product and all those things. So it is not a direct money getting thing. It is giving money in the indirect form. So sometimes the project team, like who wants to implement a PDM, who are going to implement a PDM, they may inflate their estimate of the benefit. They may inflate and tell, okay, these are the benefits. Maybe there are 10 benefits, 15 benefits. Few benefits are clubbed. If two three benefits are clubbed, the company will actually come to know that there are only 5 benefits, whereas the team was giving us a list of 10 benefits or 15 benefits. So this is a really dangerous step. So even if the project succeed, then also it may not be that reliable for the management to implement the PDM system. So these are some of the some sorts of issues that may come while we consider funding as a barrier to PDM implementation. Now next is information